Guys, these Dark Triad battles thus far have been really great when it comes to showing off the capabilities of our various characters. It feels like everyone in this conflict is showing off some crazy new powers, and finally YUNO is getting some of that treatment as well. With the previous chapter, Langris and Finral fended off Devil Zenon for as long as they possibly could. Zenon was beginning to anticipate the speed and approximate destination of their spatial magic teleportation, but just as he was sure he had figured them out, Finral, in applying mana method, was able to boost their speed tremendously, allowing the two to find an opening as Langris would rend the space before him and tear right through the devil. After being unconscious for a number of minutes, YUNO would finally come to, and unfortunately, the very first sight he would see from there would be Langris skewered on Zenon's spinal tendril and Finral collapsed on the ground. As it so happens, despite Spatial Magic's ability to erase everything, the hearts of devils are especially difficult to destroy, and so Zenon was still very much alive. This was shaping up to be Zenon's victory. Meanwhile, YUNO, as he laid there helplessly and unable to move, would for the very first time since he was a young child, begin to weep. The frustration was too great. So many people had placed their faith in him, but he would have to question if this was all that he was worth. But he could not afford to let things end like this. He had already lost so much. He swore to avenge so many people. He swore to Asta. He could not afford to stay down. He'd force himself back up as blood would pour from his mouth and wounds, as just then, a voice from within would agree with him. He was indeed more than this. And they were him, yes, but he still had a strength that was all his own. This presence being the child of Lich and Lady Tetia. From there, a light would begin to pierce the heavens as YUNO, now with a second royal grimoire, this time of the Spade Kingdom, would declare that he would save his captain, his comrades, the Spade Kingdom, and become the Wizard King. And to do that, he would begin by taking Zenon down. This latest chapter would pick up right from there as the two would stare one another down. Zenon was dumbfounded. How could YUNO possibly have two grimoires? But without wasting any time, YUNO would fire off two beam attacks. One would pierce Zenon's wing and the other would blow right through his head. This was YUNO's new power at work. Now this is pretty insane because prior to Zenon becoming a devil, this would more than likely have been an insta-kill for YUNO. But that is right when Zenon realized the truth. The Spade Kingdom's royal family had passed down powerful magics of a similar sort for generations. King Lois channeled the power of the sun. Queen Ciel harnessed the power of the moon. And the heir to that very bloodline was none other than Prince YUNO Jinberyal, who possesses star magic. Zenon now knew who his opponent truly was. At this point, Sylph would finally get back up and express that it feels like she has met the real YUNO. To which YUNO would express that for as powerful as this magic was, he could not win this fight with it alone. He would need her spiritual power as well, which would feasibly be his only means of destroying a devil's heart. To which Sylph would happily agree, as yet again, YUNO would don his spirit dive form. He would furthermore make a wind boat for Langris and Finral, thanking them for their efforts and telling them to leave the rest to him. Finral, as he clutched onto his wound, was absolutely blown away by all this. Not only did YUNO have a 4-leaf grimoire, but he also had another grimoire entirely. A reality so insane that Langris would have to question what in the world YUNO was, as YUNO would simply respond by saying that he is the vice captain of the Golden Dawn. But as these two were transported elsewhere, Zenon would return the favor onto YUNO and attempt to strike him, as YUNO in turn would have his star magic create a massive shield to protect himself. Zenon would then employ his spatial magic onto YUNO as he had been for the entire battle prior. But just when Zenon believed he had him, YUNO would use his star magic to displace himself to another point by way of instant movement under the stars. He would then express that the pages of this grimoire were engraved to specifically defeat him. A very interesting relationship between star magic and space magic here. YUNO would then have 4 stars appear before him and fire off in tandem to pierce through Zenon's form. And so a massive hole would be ripped through Zenon's body, as YUNO would make it clear that his decisions were correct and he was going to prove it with this fight. Now this sentiment really annoyed Zenon. All he wanted to do now was to crush YUNO, and he made that very clear. Because if YUNO's choices were right, then that would serve to effectively invalidate all that Zenon is and has done. The battle to ensue from here would be all out and epic. The two were going at it from all angles. This was a grudge match, plain and simple. Both of these combatants were insistent on proving their path to be the righteous one. The weight of this battle was tremendous. The chapter would then conclude with the two clashing blades. Visually, this was a power struggle between a devil and an angel. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you here, I am pretty torn. On one hand, I find the story of Zenon to be far more compelling than that of YUNO despite their similarities, and so I kind of want to root for him considering all that he had to sacrifice to get to this point, devil or not. But on the other hand, obviously YUNO is fighting for the right things, so there's that. But truly, by far the highlight of this chapter was Zenon expressing his desire to crush YUNO, the depths of which YUNO could not possibly understand because he does not truly understand his opponent here, but we of course know how deep this was for Zenon. Now, to the point of star magic here being employed by YUNO, I'm actually a little, I wouldn't say disappointed because we haven't seen everything that it has just yet, or at least I'm hoping we haven't seen everything it has just yet. But honestly, I wasn't expecting it to just be another powerhouse of sorts. I felt as though he already had that in the form of wind magic, especially with it being augmented by Sylph, the wind spirit. Now don't get me wrong, star magic has definitely proven itself to be more than just a damage dealer, as he has erected shields from it and been able to teleport by way of it. But at the same time, I don't know man, I thought that it would be a bit more specific or even technical. I don't know why. Again, his wind magic is so capable and powerful that you wouldn't think he would need another means of ripping holes through things. Either way, right now YUNO is very, very powerful. Really and truly, he might just be the strongest mage in the Clover Kingdom right now. And so one might argue that his claims for the title of Wizard King aren't so far-fetched. He is actually approaching that point, if not already there, if we are just talking about his capabilities. And with him being the vice captain of the Golden Dawn, that shows he has leadership capabilities as well. Is he on par with or even perhaps stronger than Asta right now? Well, that is debatable and perhaps deserving of a video all its own. So yeah, Black Clover as always continues to get better and better. If you enjoyed the chapter, let us know along with your thoughts on YUNO's new star magic in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on, because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Black Clover content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.